Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Rita. Today we're gonna be doing one of my decluttering that I've taken the most to get to. This is going to be my my drawer with all of my eyeshadow palettes, little quads, and most of my individuals. I've been meaning to this for a very long time. I know I have maybe not a lot as you see here on YouTube, but definitely more than I should have and that I want to have. Because a lot of these products I don't use and I think it's time for me to let go. Some of them should probably be in the trash at this point, and some of them I'm gonna donate to friends that I know would really love to have them. This is going to be kind of hard because I love my eyeshadow palettes. It's like my one favorite thing besides lipstick, but I think that it's just time. If I ever want to buy anything else at this point, it does not physically fit in my drawer, and if it's bigger or like it's more product than fits here, then we have a problem. I do have a couple of eyeshadow palettes up in my vanity, the ones that you always see behind me whenever I'm filming, but I'll just probably pull those out real quick to show them to you, but those are not going anywhere. I do like them a lot and I use them very frequently. These ones, it's just the majority or basically everything remaining besides the one that are there. Before we get into the video, I would really appreciate it if you decide to subscribe to my channel. All you need to do is hit the little red button. Be sure to also hit the bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I do have a couple more declutters coming your way. Looking at this, I know for a fact I have a little palette back here and then a couple probably in this section in the back that I don't use as much. But let's start with this one by e.l.f. I don't even think they make this palette anymore. This is the e.l.f. Prism palette. These are supposed to be kind of like toppers or something. They used to be like super glowy. I never got around to using them. This has probably been in my collection for over 10 years. It's ridiculous. I need to get rid of it. It's no longer good. A powder that's that long cannot be used by anyone. So I'm just gonna go ahead and toss this into the trash because it's definitely not good for anyone to give. Kind of pulling some that I know that I don't use and I know that they should go to a better home. So for instance, let's start with this one by BH Cosmetics. I used to love this palette. This is the Revealed 2. I was obsessed with getting the Naked 3. Here are all of the names of the Naked 3, like the comparisons. This was supposed to be, there we go. So this is very hard because I'm like looking up at the camera. This was supposed to be like a dupe for the Naked 2 by Urban Decay, but this has way more colors. This palette is really stunning, but honestly I have so many eyeshadows in my collection that I just never reach for this. So I think I'm just gonna toss some alcohol in this and then offer it to my friend. I know she will be so happy to have this palette in her collection. It is very beautiful and the colors were super pigmented and very blendable, but it's just having as much as I have, this just gets completely in the back burner, forgotten, I never used. So I'm gonna gift this. Here is another one that just always gets missed in my collection because I do have so many others. This is by Rimmel, the Magnifying Eyes or something in their Crimson edition. So this came out maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and they were kind of like a dupe for a lot of the Naked palettes. Very beautiful colors, definitely up my alley, and also very pigmented, very blendable. It is a very beautiful palette. Once again, I'm gonna toss some alcohol in it and then I'm gonna give it to one of my friends. I know she's going to love it and get so much enjoyment with this little guy. Up next we have the Nubian palette by Juvia's Place. I know that a lot of people love this palette. I wasn't too sure whenever I bought it. I did a kind of like review on this one way back. It wasn't my favorite. I'm gonna put it aside and consider it because I don't have a lot of drugstore eyeshadow palettes that are cruelty free, so this is probably going to be something that I should keep for that reason. But once again, drawer full of makeup, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna keep it, but I'll pull it on the side as a maybe palette. If not, I'll just gift it to my friend. I'll see if I actually get rid of enough things that this probably should go to someone else. Here we have another maybe palette. I was obsessed with this palette when I got it. I really wanted to get it. I think this was one of my very first eyeshadow palettes, probably around 8 years ago. Maybe, I don't remember exactly. This is the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty. You get a full matte eyeshadow palette and you get this little guy right here that this is going to be kind of like, it's like a pearlescent pearl palette or shade that you can kind of like make all of the mattes, applying this one on the top a little more shimmery. It's very beautiful. I haven't used it in years at this point because once again I have too many, but I'll put it in the maybe pile. I'll see how I feel. If not, I'll probably just gift it to my friend. It was a beautiful palette and it still is. it's just not something that I reach for anymore. Since we're in this drugstore kick, I'm gonna finish with this Milani one. This one is in the shade Earthy Elements, the Everyday Eyes. I'm not sure if they still sell this. It's not that old comparing it to others. It's very beautiful. It is definitely eyeshadows that I love, more like neutral, brownish, orangey, but I don't use it. So this is not as old, so I feel like my friend would definitely love to have this. I probably should keep it because I don't have a lot of drugstore options here for my channel to talk about, like cruelty free. But this is a great option if you're looking for an affordable eyeshadow palette that's going to be cruelty free from the drugstore. Milani is not considered super affordable, and I'm not even sure if they still sell this, but if you can find it, it was a really good one. Just did not get as much use in my collection. Up next, we have this little guy from Bella Pierre Cosmetics. This is in the Peach Bloom. This is super new. I got it last year in a lifestyle subscription box that I no longer buy. I was just getting, in general, I wanted to downsize in the things that I was getting and purchasing, so I stopped using the box. But honestly, this is a really nice palette. I did create a couple of looks with this. It is going to be very peachy, very orangey, beautiful for spring and summer, but I don't use it as much, so I'm gonna gift it to my friend. I know she will absolutely love this. These colors will definitely suit her skin tone a lot more than they do mine. We are doing great so far. I've decluttered 5 eyeshadow palettes and I have 2 in the maybe pile, which makes me super excited. I had to turn on the light because we were getting very dark in here. So up next, I have this little quad by Colourpop and Kathleen Lights. This was from her Where the Light Is collection. I think this is her very first collection she ever had with Colourpop. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure. So it came with these 4 shades, which sadly, I just swatched them all and they have all been dried up at this point. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to get rid of all of them. These are no longer good for anyone. They're just dried up. That's the problem with Colourpop. They don't last a long time, and even though you secure them, like closing them very tight, they still just go to, you know, I guess waste if you don't use them quick because they just dry up. So all of them are dried up, which is, it's a little sad, but you know, it is what it is. So the 4 of these are going to go straight to the trash because they no longer work. Speaking of Colourpop, I did have 7 more here, which I just swatched them all, and 5 of them already dried up. 2 of them are still good, so I'm just keeping Amaze and Like a Shot, which I believe these ones I bought last year, and that's why they're still good. I don't really like that they go bad so soon because although they're cheap, they're very affordable. They're like $6. I mean, if I have to use my eyeshadows in like 6 months to a year, it's not worth it, even if they're just $6. So 5 of them are gonna go to the trash. Once again, very sad. If you have Colourpop, be sure to not collect them because these Super Shock shadows do not last very long. Speaking of Colourpop, just to finish up, I do have 3 palettes. The Limoncello, the Star Wars. These ones were bought last year, so I'm gonna keep them. I still really like them. I don't use this one as much because it is only greens, but I bought it specifically for that because I don't have a lot of color in my collection and I was lacking some green. And then lastly, we've got Dream Street by Kathleen Lights and Colourpop. I really like this collab. I don't use it as much, so I'm going to keep it on a maybe pile and then revisit. If I didn't use it as much, I'm going to just get rid of it on my next hopeful declutter. Like, we're doing a lot of progress, which makes me very happy. I think that's the ones that I knew for a fact that I wanted to check on because most likely I was gonna declutter. I have here a couple of more that are from Tarte that we should probably discuss. I've got this one in the shade Peanut Butter Honey. Unfortunately, this formula wasn't as good as their other kind of like tin packaging eyeshadows. I used to love them. I have 3 of them, but I feel like this one was not as good. Some shades are not the best. They're not like super blendable. I bought this palette specifically for the shade Peanut Butter, which is this one right here. I love that shadow, but just for one shadow, I don't think it's worth it for me to keep it, so I'm gonna pass it along. I bought that because the Too Faced semi-sweet chocolate bar has that shade right here in Peanut Butter, and I love this little guy, so I wanted to have another palette with that same shadow, but I think it's time for me to let go of the little honey one. So this is gonna be for sure a pass. Let's see if my friend actually likes that one. So another tin palette from Too Faced. This one is the Natural Ice. Honestly, I don't use this anymore, but I'm never gonna get rid of this. It has such sentimental value to me because this was my very first high-end eyeshadow palette. This is what began on me the love for eyeshadow palettes. I remember whenever this was new, everyone used to love them. They used to come in this little cardboard packaging and then they switched the tin. I don't even know if they make this eyeshadow palette anymore, but I just love it. The colors are still pretty beautiful and I would definitely use it. It's more like a cooler tone vibe. I'm going to pull it out and see how I like it, but even though I'm not gonna get rid of it, it just has so many memories for me that I would never get rid of it. And I'm also going to be keeping the other tin Too Faced little palette that I have. This one is in the shade Totally Cute. This is the most colorful palette I have. I know that sounds ridiculous because this is barely any color, but I really do love it. And I'm also going to be keeping the Semi-Sweet. I love this eyeshadow palette. This is the bigger version of their tin palette. It's so beautiful. I would never get rid of it. I really, really love it. I have these two other ones from Tarte. I haven't used them in a long time. This one in the pink packaging I don't use as much. I feel like the shades are a little light for me. I have a couple, I like a couple of these ones, but I'm gonna put them in the maybe pile. I'm gonna try to use it, see how I feel, but it's not going anywhere for now. This one I absolutely love. It comes with one of Tarte's beautiful blushes. Whoop, here we go. And then 5 different shades that are very beautiful, very pigmented, very blendable. So here's the palettes that live behind me on my vanity whenever I'm filming. This is what you probably can see a little peek on the camera. So the first one, I'm gonna keep them all. I love them. The Too Faced Born This Way, one of my favorite palettes. Super beautiful. Then I've got the Urban Decay Born to Run. I don't use it as much, but it's also very colorful for my collection, so I'm keeping it. And we've got the Tartelette in Bloom. I used to be obsessed with this palette back in the day. Super, super pretty. Then one of the newest one is the Natasha Denona, the Retro palette, and then lastly my Tati Beauty, which does not exist anymore, so I would never get rid of it. Speaking of Natasha Denona, I also have the bronze palette that I really, really love. It came out last year and I just love this big palette. I do have a couple of the minis. I love them all, not gonna get rid of them, just wanted to mention them real quick. So we've got the Camo palette, which is a little bit bigger than the mini size. Super pretty, super neutral brownish shades, very beautiful. I really hope this light is not terrible because I know it's like very, very close to everything. And then for minis, I've got 4 of them, 3 pinkish and 1 more neutral. So we've got the Mini Crush, which is the latest addition to my collection. We've got the Mini Retro, also very pretty. And then lastly, for the pink family, we've got the Mini Love that was released last year for Valentine's. And then we've got my favorite out of them all, the Mini Nude. Super, super pretty palette. I want to kind of like give you an overall of everything. I know it's gonna take forever. I do have 4 palettes here from Fenty Beauty. I've got number 1, number 2, 4, and 6. So I feel like these palettes are not really spoken about a lot anymore, but I still really like mine. So I'm gonna keep them all. Just wanted to show you real quick. I have 4 of these. I'm gonna point out everything. You can see it very clearly, I feel. We've got the Urban Decay by Gwen Stefani. I really love this palette. It's gonna be more neutral, more cool tone palette. We've got 4 Tom Fords, very expensive. I'm not really showcasing any more non-cruelty free products, but I do like them and I have them in my collection. Once they're gone, they'll be gone for good. We've got all of my quads from Charlotte Tilbury. You know these are not going anywhere. They're my pride and joy, my beautiful collection that I definitely wanted to have for years and years. Whenever I saw all of the European, UK girls on YouTube that I love, still to this day, have all their beautiful Charlotte Tilbury collection, I would just lust and drool over them. Now they're mine. This is like a big, I know it sounds stupid, this is like a big achievement for me having the Charlotte Tilbury collection that I have, because it is something that I desired for so many years. And the fact that I can now literally just go into Sephora and drop the money on one of her quads just makes me realize how blessed I am. I know it's silly, but as much as I love makeup, my love for makeup and this brand just goes beyond. So the fact that I have such a big collection makes me realize how lucky and how blessed I am. And these are never going anywhere. I love Charlotte Tilbury as a whole, but her quads were just how I fell in love with the brand, and I would never get rid of them. So I do have, once again, a lot of them. And I also have a couple of the bigger ones. So we've got some holiday releases. This one is like 3 years old, and this one is like 2 years old, around that time frame. Love them. And lastly, for Charlotte Tilbury, I do have this little guy, which is a 5-6 eyeshadow little guy that I got from the Nordstrom anniversary sale, maybe like 3 years ago at this point. Very beautiful. I love it. And then you can probably see back here all of my Eyes to Mesmerize. I own 6 at this point. I want to get them all, I'm not gonna lie. I want to get all of them. They're beautiful, pigmented, easy to blend. Just perfection of one of those one eye and done perfect little guys. I had to get rid of and get a refund for the matte eyeshadows of the Eyes to Mesmerize. They were horrible. Just a big disappointment because it was Charlotte Tilbury and those eyeshadows were horrible. But this I love with all my heart, and I would never get rid of. Another brand that I have multiples of is Nars. Unfortunately, they made a horrible decision of becoming non-cruelty free whenever they were cruelty free. I would never understand that. I would never buy from them again, but I do have 3 palettes that I enjoyed a lot and I still like in my collection. So here are the ones. This is the Loaded. This one is one that came out maybe like 2 years ago, the Atomic Blonde with highlight, highlight, bronzer, and then some shadows. And then this one is in the shade I Sold. This used to be my favorite little duo for the longest time. Another one that was very much influenced by UK girls, UK YouTubers. This, of course, are not going anywhere. Might as well talk of the Naked palettes. I do have 3 of them by Urban Decay. This is the original. I did not get it whenever it was released. It took me a very long time to get it because back then I did not have the money to purchase it. So whenever I was able to, I got into the Lorac shadows and then I got into this one. But this I've had for maybe like 4 years, so it's not too old. I don't use it as much, but I like it. I think it's a classic and I wouldn't see myself getting rid of this. This one is one that I'm thinking about maybe getting rid of. This is the Smoky palette. It's only like very dark smoky eyeshadows, not really my cup of tea. I like to keep it because I like to have the options, but I'll consider this one. And then the Heat. I love this one. Out of the 3, this is for sure my favorite. I've talked about this one before. This is the customized MAC eyeshadow that I did myself and I used on my wedding day. I would never get rid of it because of the memories that are attached to this palette. Unfortunately, MAC is not cruelty free, and honestly the shadows at this point, I believe I have so many others that are way better, but you know, I'll keep it just for the memories and I still use it, of course. The one and only Pat McGrath palette that I have, and the last one that I would ever buy. Her colors are always very over the top for my liking, very colorful, not really my cup of tea. Whenever this came out, I was very excited because it was the first one that I would actually see myself using a lot. It's really good, I'm not gonna lie. It's very pricey, super pricey, and I feel like it didn't perform as I wished it did. It's good, don't get me wrong, the shadows blend good, the shimmering and everything is pretty, but it didn't wow me, and if I'm paying this much for an eyeshadow palette, if it's not wowing me, it's not worth it. But you know, it's here and it'll remain here for a while. We've got then my Lorac little family. So I do have 5 palettes from Lorac. I'm gonna keep them all, I'm not gonna lie. I do like them a lot. Unfortunately, they're not cruelty free, so I don't really talk about them in my channel anymore. But I do have the Lorac number 2. I can't remember the name of this, but this is a number 2. This was my 2nd ever eyeshadow palette that I ever owned, so it's also very special to me. This is the more kind of like cooler tone. I never got the original one, like the number 1, whenever the Naked got released. So this is my 2nd one that I ever purchased. And then we have the Lorac Pro number 3, which is also more on the brownish neutral, so very pretty. And then my favorite one out of the 4 are going to be the Lorac Unzipped, the original, and then we've got the Lorac Unzipped Gold. Both I love, so I'm gonna be keeping them. Then I've got a single one here by Viseart, I'm not sure. That broke. That's a problem. We'll figure that out in a minute. But I'm not sure if this is cruelty free or not. I don't believe so. So it's not showcased in my channel, but I do have it, and it's good. It's a good quality palette. I just don't reach for it a lot. Another one that I absolutely love, the Patrick Ta. This one is I don't even know the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette. Beautiful, highly recommend for anyone who loves neutral brownish shadows. Super pretty. It was one of my favorites from last year. And then let's wrap this up. We've got two by Anastasia, both super beautiful, would never leave my collection. The Modern Renaissance, which is the one that started with the pink craze, just love it. And then we've got the Soft Glam, super pretty. I don't know which one I like better. I don't know, they're both so beautiful. Oh, I missed this one by Tarte. This is the Man Eater. I really like it. It's such a beautiful palette. Honestly, I think this is still available. I highly recommend. It's a beautiful palette. Just a few randoms here. We've got this one by Wayne Goss, his first palette. This one is the Luxury Eye Palette. I don't believe Wayne Goss is cruelty free. Let me know in the comments down below if you know. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think so. So that's why you don't see it as much anymore or at all in my channel. But yeah, I do have it. It's okay. I don't love it, but it's not bad. Then we've got one that I absolutely love. I wish there was a different shade here. Instead of this being too gold, I wish it was more vanilla. But the shades are very pretty. This one is by Victoria Beckham, by the way, in the shade Silk. I also have this liquid shadows, one from MAC and then two from Lisa Eldridge. I really like the three of them, so I'm gonna keep them all. This is fairly new in my collection. This one is kind of old. I got it probably like 2 or 3 years ago as a recommendation after seeing Alana talking about this on her channel. A really good eyeshadow, but unfortunately not cruelty free. And then another kind of like stick eyeshadow, this one by Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Amber Haze. I've actually never used this as an eyeshadow, which I should. I've just used it as an eyeliner and I really like it, but I'll be using it soon. And then for my, I think these are gonna be almost my last ones. I've got two individuals. What used to be my favorite brown, this one is Camel by Bobbi Brown. This is no longer available, but it was such a hit for me back in the day. And then we've got another very famous one. This is the L'Oreal Amber Rush. I don't even know if this still works. I haven't used it in a while. But yeah, it still works. So I'll still keep it. I love rose gold, so that's not surprise. I thought I was done, but I remember that I have a couple of additional eyeshadows here. This is a little acrylic container that I have in my set of drawers. So these are just random small eyeshadows. I'm going to for sure get rid of these three. These are Mary Kay that I bought like way before I lived here, maybe like 7 years ago. I'm gonna swatch them. If they're still good, I'm gonna give them to my friend. If not, they'll just be tossed in the trash. Then I've got these ones from e.l.f. Honestly, these eyeshadows are not really good anymore, so I'm just gonna grab them and toss them to the trash. But I like the compact. I don't know. I don't think I should keep it though, because I'm not gonna use it. So I'm just gonna probably toss the shadows and then figure out what to do with that. I've got two little minis, one from Makeup Forever. I just got in those Sephora boxes. I'm gonna get rid of it, give it to my friend. And then I've got this little duo by Smashbox. I think I'm gonna keep this one because it's very pretty, but I'm gonna put it in this drawer so I don't forget about it. I've got the very old Walking on Eggshells by Wet n Wild. This is super old. I don't think it should be used anymore. I used to love it, but it's disappointing that Wet n Wild is no longer cruelty free when it used to be. Got this little L'Oreal quad I got maybe like 3 years ago. It's in the shade Boudoir Charm, however you pronounce it. Another one that I'm gonna gift to my friend because I know that she would actually really like that. I got this palette. It's from Yves Rocher, just a quad. It used to be a very pretty one. I don't really use this anymore, and the colors weren't as pigmented or as blendable, so I'll gift it to my friend. If she finds use on it, good. If not, she'll probably just toss it. But yeah, I used to get that back whenever I was still living in Mexico. This e.l.f. Bake Shadow, I'm pretty sure it's even no longer good. Yeah, This thing also belongs to the trash. It got all dried up. I have 2 mini sample sizes of the Laura Mercier little stick eyeshadows, I think called caviar sticks. I'm gonna stick them here into my drawer so I remember to use them. They're just sample sizes. I've got this individual Urban Decay eyeshadow in the shade Sin, another one that I'm going to stick in my drawer so I don't forget that I have it, because that's been the case. And then lastly, I have 3 loose pigments by Colourpop and Kathleen Lights. I've got a brown, a gold, and a rose gold. I'm gonna keep them all, put them to the test, see if I still like them and use them. If not, I'll pass them along to one of my friends. So we are all done. We decluttered a lot and we are gonna toss to the trash a lot. Going back to these 2 maybes, I'm just gonna pass them to my friend. I'm not even gonna think about it. I have too much stuff already that 2 palettes are not really gonna do anything. I know I haven't used them in a while and I know she will definitely enjoy them. So that makes it a total that I'm gifting her 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 little palettes, and these little guys make it 12. These are a couple of individuals, a smaller palette, and some quads. So I think that she would definitely be happy with all that makeup. She doesn't have a lot of eyeshadow, so I know that she will be happy. And she can figure out what she likes, and if she doesn't like something, she can just toss it. And then we are tossing a lot of those Colourpop eyeshadows. I only kept 3. But yeah, that's gonna be everything, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I need to go ahead and fix this drawer to put it back in my vanity. Gonna have some food and finish up the day because it's already pretty late. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And I will continue with this kind of like declutter series. If you like it, let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. Bye!